Check, check, chickadee check, check, check. 3. Cracking open a cold one, New London style, in New England. America. Should I say America? It's a Rockstar OG shooter, just an hour from the script. That he had 3 milligram Vrillers at 1, and now I think it's just about 5 or 10 after 2. Being said, I'm going to set the cam down and go ahead and slug it, so... Never heard that one? You never heard that one? Uh, let's see, how's it go? Well, the New England thing comes from, and the A-clam chowder. You never heard that one? It's Duncan. It's Nick Duncan by False Sign. Hotel, couple in the next room, we're bound to win a prize. They've been going at it all night long. Been trying to get some sleep, but these hotel walls are cheap. Making Duncan's my name. Here's my song. Here's my song. It's a nice one. It's a good one. My father was a fisherman. My brother was a fisherman's friend. He ate clam chowder. Oh, New England. Sounds similar, so. Yeah, I had a pack a day for going on 11 years now. For 10 years, I think, or maybe closer to 9, coming up on 10 years. It would have been coming up on a decade of, or something similar, say. I wound up and they said, you know, you've had 65,000 single American Spirit cigarettes. You've had a pack a day for something like 3,500 days, and we're looking at that. And I said, well, I was looking at my script. I have a 1 a day. It's an antipsychotic. I didn't have a psychosis, and some mild psychedelia helps it run through my system, so it helped repair some brain piece that was like fizzled out or broken from an overactive childhood and some head trauma. I have a doctor's note, or I had a doctor's note. They said it was doctor recommended some tobacco, because Native American stuff, nobody moves. So the doctor wouldn't recommend the heavy prescription, the heavy sedative prescription. So, but he says a pack of smokes and some Budweiser on the weekends, some Marlboros, 3 to 5 packs a week, have it a pack a day, and Budweiser, on the weekends, and just live life like normal. And I'm not going to give you a note for that dang medicine that the specialist asks you for. You'll find another primary care physician, or stick with me, and we'll smoke and drink, and only the good die young, so to speak. Of course, I was 18 when I picked up smoking, and you can't buy beer until you're 21, so I sucked down Red Bulls, and I kept up with the habit, man. 3,500 Red Bulls, 3,600 Spiridone, 65,000 single American Spirits. I switched over to Senecas because they're $2 a pack, and every time I try and switch back to Spirits, I can't afford. So, I'd rather slug these OG Rockstars because they're $1 a piece, but I enjoy the taste of Red Bull better. Not the small, the teeny ones. Yeah, if I had 3, but this one's one size up, so it's 2 of those. And Heineken with some Svedka or Jack Daniels. It would make the world go round. Unfortunately, I can afford his Black Velvet Canadian whiskey and Miller Champagne. Freaking 19-something, 1910 champagne beer. well, these are $1 a piece. They're at the dollar store, $1 a piece. I'm like, what? They're $5 a piece at the bar. You know, I might as well buy them by the case. I bought 2 cases. Now I'm buying singles when I can afford. And black velvet, you got a liter of it. You know, glass bottle like that, $10. And the Miller, it's 18 bottles for 11 and change. Under $12, you get 18 bottles. Yeah. So I'm like, San Pedro, here, check this out. So those buttons are growing super quick. There's 3 of them now. See, that's the baby one. I just noticed that like 2 days ago. It got soaked today, so if it starts to rain again, I'm gonna go ahead and bring the damn thing inside and let it get some sunlight. And there's no sunlight tomorrow, you know. I'm gonna have to bring it inside and let it get the artificial sunlight. I'm gonna put it on the onto the overhead lamp or something, under a light bulb at least, because right after it gets a soaking, it needs to dry out all the way through and through with the lamp or with the freaking ball of fire up on us at Large Rock, right? What do we got? There's some police, so I'll get a little bit of a camp song. Wheel is turning and it won't slow down. Can't let go and you can't hold on. Hit the thunder home, catch you in the wind. This is something like small fire turned by large fire turned by the grace of God. Small fire turned by man and rod or something. I forget how the lyrics say. And I think they have like some kind of like gospel-esque chorus, you know, really hard, like the freaking Crusades or something going on. Yeah, the older ones, but no. Yeah, in the 70s it was nice to see the cartoon. They played, the wheel was on the radio. It was Uncle Sam's driving his chopper through the foothills. That was a good one too. Yeah, like the Grateful Dead. I was on the Grateful Dead tour from 1990 to 1996. Well, there was no Grateful Dead in 1996, but there were side bands. There was Phil Asher Friends, and there was Bob Weir's, what's he doing, Rat Dog, I think. And then we picked that back up again in like 2002, just to do the Green Party thing about, you know, end war before it begins, and it didn't work out, so we quit the Grateful Dead in 2007. Caught at the Department of Defense, wound up with an office near the Pentagon. You can't do both at the same time. You can't be suspect or accessory with a domestic terrorist for mass distribution of narcotics such as lysergic acid, diethylene 25, like the Grateful Dead band members. You can't be associated with that within an arm's reach and have an office near the Pentagon for the Department of Defense at the same time. So he's almost retired. Who knows? He gets early retirement or he turns 65, senior citizen. Maybe he'll jump back on stage and do some relearn some soundboards, you know, so he can be the sound guy's assistant somewhere, one of 100, you know, doing some kind of, he'd be a band member like he would before, you know, but like he did before. His thing was 87 to 95 with the Grateful Dead. Their sound guy was one of 100, you know, maybe they had like 500 on-call sound guys, you know. And he was just one, you know, he did it for the money, I guess, or the fame. We didn't really make much cash, there wasn't much cash in it. So I listened to the Grateful Dead predominantly until 95 with Passing with Jerry. 96 I got the Seas of Cheese album, which was in Jerry was a race car driver, and we were taking my focus and away from the Grateful Dead and into musical attributions that would cite the Grateful Dead or the Grateful Dead band members in their side project works. Like Primus would wear a Steely face saying about how Jerry drove the car that's over there, just a 15-minute run from here, into a telephone pole that's like, I don't know, a 20-minute drive from here on Route 85, and he got a warning. He didn't get arrested or anything. The police were really nice to him. Yeah. They was smoking blunts, and then he went driving stoned and crashed into the telephone pole. My great grandfather's car. He bought it in the 50s. He died in the 50s. He died a year after he bought it. So you'll see me like with the kids and stuff, like playing with Graham or whatever. If Dad's doing a show, I'll be Graham and Keelan and things, the Midland Girls and what. the thing they put out a Studio Hollywood album that kind of embraces that fact. It was 3/29/1990. Wake Up to Find Out, Nassau Coliseum, Unionville, New York, by the Great. It was a bootleg for a long time, but in 2014 they put it out. It was going to be a Hollywood hit, and I don't know about the sales. I didn't get a cut or percentage of anything, even though I'm a character in the Dead lore from that day, actually from '87 when they start planning my birth. He said, Jerry says, the sound guy says, so how can I pay you? And he says, well, I want a kid. I want a famous kid. I want a kid to be raised with your kids, and a kid born into the dead. With the dead second coming. You guys can get old, and he'll be of age to pick up do something, or GDP on a corporate, pencil pusher or whatever, on Strangers Helping Strangers or something. So there was that, and then there was all that stopped in 2007. I got an injury in 2008. Did pretty much house chores and yard work for 10 years straight. The injury was so bad I couldn't hold down a job and be on the meds at the same time. I'm getting off the meds in 3 months, 4 months. I think January. Some point in January, all the crap will be out of my system finally for the first day in 11 years. What did I do? Before the injury, I was an Explorer PD, an Explorer Medic, an Explorer Fire, Junior Coast Guard, and Junior Navy. I'd been boxing since the age of 5, and I had been learning submarines with private schools and tutors, and as a K through 12 focus since the age of 4. So the plan in the Clinton administration, before we knew there was before the war, or the attack on Manhattan. The plan under the Clinton administration was to open up the base under the Long Island Sound for science scholars and civilians. So you get on a submarine at Fort Trumbull State Park, the docking bay there, and then it would drive you underwater, and you'd get off, and you'd be in like Long Island Sound's Atlantis or whatever. If you were a science or a scholar, you'd be helping to develop the Atlantic Ocean Space Station. We got them in the stars. We wanted one underwater, so we're going to put up schematics for that or whatever, and the civilians would help keep the scientists, the crew members, and the scholars safe. And the crew members my focus was drive back and forth, be a pilot, or help as a boat. It's like a taxi that dips down under the water some meters. So we got a little bit of neighbors on the shoes and meal time. So. Oh, remember my last catch of mail? It was hashish from Saponia Hills, Vatican County, Italy. A nice big brick of fudge hash like that. It was just over an ounce, and I got an ounce of bubble crumble. Each of them sent me $50 an ounce, free shipping. How could you go wrong? I gotta go with it.